Hi, and welcome to How Money Works Masterclass Part 1. This is where you'll learn to stop being a sucker when it comes to your money. I'm Mike Amos, and I'll be your financial educator for the next 45 minutes or so. Financial literacy starts here. You have to face the facts as we know them before you begin the process. Our goal is not to give you a PhD in finance, but to teach you the basics you'll need to know to make smarter decisions about your money and your wealth. This is a foundation. You'll also get to know the cast of characters from How Money Works Stop Being a Sucker book. If you've read the book, you've already been introduced. Everyone has a favorite or two. Mine is TJ. They're proof that there are no stupid questions when it comes to money. Please feel free to make notes in that book. The first choice you have as we begin this course is very simple. You will choose the mindset of a sucker, or you will learn to think like the wealthy. It's a choice. The fact that you've joined this today is a sign that you're on the right track. Here's the great news. You don't have to be wealthy to think like the wealthy. You only need the information and the knowledge. This is your opportunity to gain that knowledge and that mindset. One of our country's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, once said, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." We salute you for taking the time to learn one of the most valuable life skills you can possibly develop. You're going to be glad you did. Comedian W.C. Fields once said, "It's morally wrong to allow a sucker to keep their money." Of course, he was kidding. It does, however, prove one thing. If you don't understand how money works, you can end up as the butt of someone else's joke. For you, that stops today. We know the word sucker sounds insulting. Unfortunately, that's the best way to describe someone who can be taken advantage of because they don't know how things work. Not knowing how money works does suck. It can suck up your time, suck up your freedom, even suck up your income, and that sucks. There's an old saying, what we think about, we bring about. Your financial reality will largely depend on how your mind works when it comes to money. Today's class, Masterclass Part 1, will cover these 5 basic concepts as well as strategies. Each is essential to the foundation required to start making financial decisions with confidence and start taking action to get yourself on the right track. Today, we all know how devastating a global medical crisis can be. Not knowing about money is the economic version of a global crisis. It affects over 5 billion people in the world who are considered illiterate when it comes to their money. The financial devastation it has caused individuals all over the world is immeasurable, and some of it's actually intentional. The financial industry won't be happy we're committed to teaching you how money works. If this was 1920, there would still be millions of adults in our nation who couldn't read. Public education over the last 100 years has changed that. The How Money Works Masterclass is public education in financial literacy. With this course, you'll learn the building blocks to earn, spend, save, and invest. Just like learning to read, when you know how money really works, it changes your financial story and how it ends. When you heard me say over 5 billion people in the world are considered financially illiterate, you probably wondered what that actually means. It references the shocking results of a recent global study. In the study, only 30% of the people in the world are considered financially literate. The study used a simple money quiz to reveal that the vast majority of people from all countries, all over the world, were unable to correctly answer just a few simple questions about money. This class will teach you the answers to those questions and many more. It's the reason I teach this course, and hopefully it's the reason that you're listening in. Our nation isn't any better off than the rest of the world. Financial illiteracy is our top economic crisis. Look at these numbers. Can you believe that almost half of Americans don't have enough to cover a $400 emergency if it comes up, or to make their student loan payments on time, or to pay off their credit cards, or even consider retiring? Sarah is right. How numbers hurt families every day, it's hard to process. In early 2020, with the number of people on unemployment, the stock market volatility, and so many people being impacted, I'm sure the numbers are even worse. But here's the good news for you and everyone who takes this course. With the knowledge and action, we can change these numbers. This masterclass is your day one, a new financial reality, a new financial mindset, a new financial future. According to the National Financial Educators Council recent survey, U.S. adults on average lost $1,200 in 2018 because they simply did not know what they're doing with their money. 1 in 5, or 20%, lost $2,500. It's basically like taking the stimulus check, setting it on fire. Only 21 states make you take one class on money in high school. And of those that do, they only scratch the surface with topics like balancing a checkbook. Do you think that's enough? What percentage of schools teach sex ed, lacrosse, broadcast journalism? Almost 50 out of 50. Can't make this stuff up. It makes no sense to us either. Most of our kids think a personal finance course would benefit them the most. It's hard to find one on your own. That's why we teach this masterclass and give away that book. Meet the sucker cycle. It's a trap of foolishly spending and low interest savings that goes on and on, month after month, year after year, slowly sucking away your potential to be wealthy, free, and in control. Every couple weeks, the cycle repeats. Extra trips to the grocery store, unnecessary online purchases, another streaming subscription. Most people know how to earn money and they know how to spend money. That's it. That's where it stops. What about all the other options? It's time to break the sucker cycle. Suckers hand their paycheck to someone else who builds their wealth with the sucker's money. Wait till you see the numbers and how they look. Little amounts can add up over time and become very big amounts. Check out this snapshot out of the book. Some of these numbers might be a little different since we've been staying home lately. Less on clothing, less on ride shares, coffee, and events, but maybe more on takeout, subscriptions, and maybe even alcohol. Think of your retirement like an airplane. It needs both wings to fly. Social Security and your 401k, if you have one, can make up one wing of your income that you plan to live on in retirement. The other wing is completely up to you. It's self-directed, your responsibility. If you hope to live on at least 70% of your pre-retirement income, you'll need to be serious about what you put away. Your financial professional can help you decide what the number is and where to put it. I'm in conversations like this every day. Let's take a look at how Americans are doing with that second wing. No matter what generation you're a part of, none of them are saving enough. Remember, the older you are, the less time you have, so the more money that you'll need to put away. Here's an example that will shine a bright light on the numbers and the possibility of a savings shortfall. If you don't put enough aside each month at a good rate of return, your savings can fall short, putting your retirement income and your retirement lifestyle at risk. Depending on your shortfall, you might have to re-enter the workforce, cut back on your lifestyle to live on less, or even move in with your kids. How does that sound? See the shortfall, the gray area there between what you've saved and how much you need? It should be the focus of every American and their financial professional to close that gap. Here's what it looks like when you nail it. Gap closed. Retirement savings goals reached. This person will have a reliable income because they saved the amount necessary and got the rate of return necessary to reach the savings required to make that retirement they imagine possible. There could even be money left over to leave as a legacy to their beneficiaries or their children. How does that sound? You can work with your financial professional to figure out what your numbers actually need to be. As Steve Siebold said in the book, How Rich People Think, the wealthy think differently than everybody else. Suckers accept their situation. Their thoughts about money center on fear. Their behavior around money centers on foolishness. The wealthy, facing the same reality, they just choose an alternate mindset. They see money and their future differently, gathering as much knowledge as possible, and they think about money with excitement. They see a bright future, one filled with wealth as well as opportunity. Let's spend just a few minutes learning about the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein says this is the most powerful force he has ever discovered. Compounding is the interest that the interest can earn in addition to the interest that your savings can earn. Or interest on interest, as Zoe puts it. Compound interest leverages the power of exponential growth. The amazing story from the book about John D. Rockefeller, one of America's self-made billionaires, I'll tell you the short version. Rockefeller lent $50 to a farmer at 7% when he was a boy. He earned $3.50 in interest in addition to getting the money he lent back. During the same time, he earned $1.12 digging potatoes for 3 days. He looked at the $1.12 he earned from the back-breaking work versus the $3.50 his money earned him. That's when he decided that he needed to make his money work harder than he ever could for himself. This is a lesson to never forget. You decide. You work for your money, limited by time, or your money works for you around the clock without limit and without you. Rockefeller went on to say he had ways of making money most people had no idea about. We're about to let you in on his secrets. The difference between simple and compound interest is substantial. One stays the same and one grows and grows. To see the difference, we'll look at two different examples of $1,500 growing at 9% over 50 years. With simple interest, that $1,500 grows to $8,250. Not much over such a long period of time. With compound interest, on the other hand, that $1,500 grows to $132,777 in the same number of years. 16 times more money. Notice how the curve of the graph gets steeper in the later years as the power of compounding really takes off. Mr. Einstein also said compound interest is the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. He obviously thought a lot about many things in his lifetime, and he put the power of compound interest right up there with famous E equals MC squared. Here's an example of how saving monthly with compound interest can be a game changer for you. The interest ends up being way more than the amount that you actually saved. The interest in this example is 13 times what you would have saved alone. Here you see Rockefeller's secret revealed. Earning interest on interest creates the wealth that your savings alone can never ever accomplish. Now that you're starting to get the hang of this, you might have a pretty good guess whether $50,000 one time or $500 each month becomes more over 45 years. Both accounts earn 9%. What do you think will earn more? $500 per month ends up outpacing the one-time sum of $50,000. Even though TJ saved more over time, his account passed Sarah's in this example only after 17 years. The tortoise beats the hare. Slow and steady can win the race. The return that you get can make a big difference on how your story turns out. Watch what I mean. $178 saved each month from ages 25 to 67 at different returns creates very different results. Most people don't understand this, which explains why they choose unfortunate places to actually save their money. The amount per month and the time are the same. The only change is the rate of return. This could mean that you earn as much as 790% more on your money at 9% versus 1%. That's almost $900,000 difference. As you can see, your rate of return could be the defining factor that closes your retirement savings gap or leaves you with a significant shortfall. Focusing on safety alone and ignoring the rate of return can be a very costly mistake. Wealthy people want their money to work for them as hard as they did for it. We've all been guilty of squandering time. It's especially costly when you lose the value of money over that time. You never ever get that time back or the money that was lost. Time is one of the most precious commodities. How long do you have until you pay off your car or your home? Or to send your kids to college? or to retire, or possibly to run out of money before you die. You need to know your numbers. Why? Because it forces us to value the time that we actually have. There are 3 ways to leverage the time value of money. Start now, save regularly, and be patient. Starting early is always a good idea. It makes a significant difference. In this case, savings from ages 22 to 30 is better than any ages 30 to 67. $110,892 better after putting away 4.75 times less money. This is a common sense principle to understanding that is frequently ignored. The longer you wait, the more you have to save to hit your goal. Don't wait, start now. Here's a picture of the numbers that breaks it down by the age. For each million you want at retirement, you can see the amount monthly you need to save to hit that target. At age 30, you need to save $282 per month to have $1 million at retirement. But if you wait until age 40, you need to save $731 per month. At some point, you will outpace your ability to hit that monthly savings amount required. You simply cannot afford it. At that point, you'll have 2 choices. Shrink your dreams or find a way to earn more money. Now might be a good time to start applying these principles for yourself and see what things actually look like. Write down your age, how much you need to save from the previous slide. What happens if you wait 5 years? How fast has that 5 years flown by? Everyone needs to know this information now because time keeps on ticking away. Sucker-minded people never think it's a good time to take care of this. The wealthy-minded always get started as soon as they can, which is right now, if not sooner. Now, let's look at an example of something most parents dream about. If you have children or plan to have kids, you always want them to have it better than you. That's natural. This example is reimagining of how parents can leave a legacy for their kids. It's a strategy that applies the power of compound interest and the time value of money in a way that makes traditional end-of-life wealth transfer seem very old and outdated. Only 20% of children will receive an inheritance. It's probably even lower now that so many people have faced these challenges in the first half of 2020. If you want to give your child $1 million at retirement, which is more likely? You can either give them each $1 million in cash when they're adults, as long as you've saved enough, or you can develop a plan to save a fraction of that amount for each child when they're young. We know how hard it is for retirement age parents to preserve inheritance for their adult children. With seniors living longer, almost all of their savings will be required to cover decades of expenses, including medical bills and most likely long-term care. This is the new reality of longevity that can remove the possibility of leaving an inheritance the old traditional way. Since it's so hard to leave an inheritance today, why not use the greatest financial asset your child has? Time. They have their entire life ahead of them. What could the power of compounding do for you, for your child, over 67 years? Well, let's take a look. $1 Million Baby leverages 3 money concepts: the power of compound interest, the time value of money, and wealth protection. This is one of my favorite quotes. Nelson Henderson said, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit." So, could you use the money principles you've learned today to save $1 million for your child or your grandchild? It's a lot easier than you actually think. The following examples are simply here to illustrate how this can actually work. In this example, Dana puts $13,000 aside one time and leaves it for her daughter from birth until her daughter turns 67. It grows at 6.5% to a little bit over $1 million. If Dana waits until her daughter graduates from high school, her daughter now only receives $300,000 when she turns 67. What a difference that 18 years can actually make. Hector doesn't have the $13,000 sitting around, but he still wants his son to retire with $1 million. He and his relatives can work together to save just $2,500 now, and then they can put $250 away each month for the next 4 years. Then, like magic, they'll hit their goal too. His son also retires with $1 million waiting for him. If Hector waits until his son turns 18 years of age, it is the same story as if Dana had waited, much less, once again, a little over 300 grand again. We're developing a calculator that will allow you to play with these numbers to see what it might look like. In the meantime, your financial professional can help you decide. 250 children born every minute could live a very different life if the parents or the grandparents did this for them when they were young. Now you see why we call this strategy $1 Million Baby. How appreciative would your kids be one day, perhaps when you're gone, that their parents thought enough about their future, knew how money works, and acted in love to take care of them. That's a thank you that you could send and change your legacy forever. Once again, sucker-minded people leave it all up to chance, while the wealthy-minded realize what a dream come true it would be to do that for their family. Are you having fun? We're closing in on today's class and session. Now, my favorite part, it's time to learn the rule of 72. Have any of you heard of it before? It's a little known mental math shortcut that the wealthy have used for many years. Everyone should know this rule. You simply divide any interest rate into the number 72, and it tells you how long it will take for your money to double. It works for you if you save money. It works against you if you borrow money. At 1%, it will take 72 years for your dollar to turn into $2. That's a long time. Would anyone knowingly choose that on purpose? Keep that question in mind. We'll come back to it. As you can see, the better rate of return you get, the faster your money can double. At 3% every 24 years, at 6% every 12 years, at 9% every 8 years, and at 12% every 6 years. That's more like it, right? Here's another way to look at it. In terms of the numbers of doubles you could have over your lifetime, at 1% you'll be lucky if you live long enough to get one double. At 6% you could have 4 doubles. At 12% you could have as many as 8 doubles. Each double is twice the money. Every double counts. Remember the question about 1%? Why would anyone choose 72 years to double? Oh yeah, because people don't know how money works. There's almost $10 trillion sitting in passbook savings accounts that earn, on average, 0.09%. That's just a fraction of 1%. When CNBC did a review of our book a number of months ago, this is one of the things they pointed out to be almost unbelievable. If you divide 0.09% into 72, you're looking at 800 years for your account to double by the year 2820. As George says, his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will love it. And just so we're clear, the same place that gives you 0.09% can charge you 17% plus on a credit card. That means that their money doubles every 4 years. Now you can see why the subtitle of the book, Stop Being a Sucker, is that way. You need to know how money works today, not tomorrow, today. Of course, the bank will give you a lollipop for your trouble waiting in line to make that deposit. What brand is it usually? Yep, a dum-dum. We can't make this up. It's like they're trying to tell you, but you just don't know code. You can also use this to figure out what return you need for a savings goal or what a loan will actually cost you. This is not the time to be sucker-minded. This is the time to apply the rule of 72 to all of your finances like the wealthy-minded people do. We're at the conclusion of today's course. Principles like what you've just learned will bring up questions like the ones that you see on the screen here. Should you use a bank account? What are other safe options? Should you refinance a loan at a lower rate? What can you do to help make more doubles possible? A financial professional is the best person to turn to for questions like these and many others. We can discuss. We can get together next time for Masterclass Part 2, which will also be available, which will show you how to apply today's principles to your finances using a practical, straightforward action plan, as well as products and services that will make it happen. We'll take you through the 7 money milestones to help you chart your course along the way. Each milestone is important to complete your overall financial plan. The good news is you've already begun milestone 1, which is financial education. You're becoming more financially literate and will hopefully be able to discuss your situation with a financial professional that we strongly recommend. There are strategies as well as products with benefits like those you see on the screen here. Make sure you ask about them. We'll also talk about the impact of taxes as you work on your professional plan. It's like punching driving directions into your phone. 2 points of reference is all you need, where you are right now and where you want to go. The same is true as you course your financial roadmap. The How Money Works discovery in the book can help you take care of that. We look forward to seeing you on the next Masterclass Part 2. Until then, please review what you've learned today. And if you don't have the book, feel free to request a free book from us. Financial literacy can be yours. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to Masterclass Part 1, and be on the lookout for Masterclass Part 2 that will be released very shortly.